The third truth about commitment phobia, disguised as abundance, is perhaps the most painful. You keep options not because you haven't found the right person, but because you're terrified that if you gave someone your full self, they'd discover you're not enough. So you never let anyone get close enough to find out. Let's talk about the real fear underneath all of this. It's not about finding the right person. It's not about wanting variety. It's not about being polyamorous or having an abundance mentality. It's about a deep, often unconscious belief. If someone truly knew me, all of me, they wouldn't stay. And this fear, the fear is so painful that most people can't even acknowledge it. So instead, they create elaborate justifications for why they can't commit. I just haven't found the right person yet. I'm not ready to settle down. I have too much going on right now. I just enjoy my freedom. Monogamy isn't natural. These explanations sound reasonable. They sound like conscious choices. They sound like someone who knows what they want and is living authentically. But beneath them is often something much more vulnerable. The terror that if you stopped protecting yourself, if you let someone fully in, if you showed them your complete truth, they'd leave. So you don't let anyone get that close. You keep options so no one becomes too important. You maintain distance so no one can reject the real you. You split yourself so no one ever has to see, and you never have to risk your full humanity. This isn't conscious manipulation. Most people caught in this pattern aren't intentionally deceiving anyone. They genuinely believe their own explanations for why they can't commit. But beneath the explanations is fear. Fear that your full self isn't lovable. Fear that your complete truth is too much or not enough. Fear that the vulnerability required for real commitment would expose you to devastating rejection. Think about Neo's public statements about relationships. In interviews, he's talked about the difficulty of monogamy, suggesting it's not natural for men. He's framed his relationship patterns as biological, as just how he's wired. But what if it's not about biology? What if it's about fear? What if maintaining multiple relationships isn't about having too much love to give one person, but about being too afraid to give yourself or give all of yourself to anyone? What if the split isn't about abundance, but about protection? Keeping yourself fragmented so no one can reject your whole self. This fear is full of exposure, or full exposure creates a specific pattern. You get close enough to experience connection, but not close enough to risk full vulnerability. You show enough of yourself to maintain the relationship, but not enough to be fully known. You commit enough to keep the person around, but not enough to actually be all in. You're perpetually 1 foot in, 1 foot out, always maintaining an exit strategy, always keeping backup options, always protecting yourself from the possibility of being fully seen and rejected. And here's what makes this pattern so insidious. It works. It protects you. You never have to face the devastating possibility that your full self might not be enough. But the cost is this: you also never get to experience being fully loved. Because love, real love, the kind that actually heals and satisfies and transforms, requires being fully known. It requires showing someone not just your best self, but your whole self. It requires the vulnerability of complete honesty. And you can't have that while protecting yourself through multiple connections. You can't fully be loved if no one really fully knows you. You can't experience the depth of being chosen for your complete self if no one sees your complete self. So you end up in this tragic position, surrounded by people who want you, but never experiencing the love you're actually seeking, because the love you're seeking requires the vulnerability you're avoiding. Think about your own patterns. What are you actually afraid of? Are you afraid that if someone saw your insecurities, they'd lose respect for you? Are you afraid that if someone knew your full history, they'd judge you? Are you afraid that if someone understood your deepest needs, they'd see you as weak? Are you afraid that if you stopped performing and just showed up as your real self, they'd realize you're not as special as they thought? These fears keep you in the pattern. They keep you splitting yourself, maintaining options, avoiding full commitment. They keep you safe from rejection, but they also keep you safe from real love, because real love requires risk. It requires showing someone that parts of you that you usually hide. It requires being vulnerable enough to let someone see not just your highlight reel, but your full humanity. And for many people, that feels too dangerous. The possibility of being fully seen and rejected feels more painful than the reality of being partially known by multiple people. So they choose the loneliness of protection over risk of intimacy. They choose the safety of options over the vulnerability of commitment. They choose performing connection over risking love. Neo can write beautiful songs about deep love, about being seen, about intimacy that transforms, but can he actually live it while maintaining the protection of multiple relationships? Can anyone live it while keeping themselves split? The answer is no. Not because commitment is inherently superior to other relationship structures, but because using multiple connections as protection against vulnerability prevents the very intimacy those connections are supposed to provide. You're not maintaining options because you're abundant. You're maintaining options because you're afraid. Afraid that your full self isn't enough. Afraid that real vulnerability would lead to rejection. Afraid that if you stop protecting yourself, you'll get hurt. And that fear is understandable. Vulnerability is scary. Being fully seen is risky. Commitment requires courage. But here's the truth. The armor that protects you from pain also prevents you from love. The distance that keeps you safe also keeps you lonely. The options that make you feel secure also ensure you never experience the depth of being fully known and chosen. You think you're protecting yourself, but really you're just guaranteeing the very loneliness you're trying to avoid, because what you actually want, what your soul is actually craving, is to be fully seen and still loved, to show someone your complete truth and have them stay, to be vulnerable and have that vulnerability met with acceptance. But you can't have that while keeping yourself or keeping options as insurance. You can't be fully loved while protecting yourself through fragmentation. You can't experience real intimacy while you're terrified of being fully known. This is the third truth. You keep options not because you're abundant, but because you're afraid. Afraid that your full self isn't lovable. Afraid that real vulnerability would lead to rejection. So you split yourself across multiple people, never letting anyone close enough to discover whether your fear is true.